So maybe you can't make it to campus during the day. Maybe your success coach enrolled you in an online course, or maybe the course you need is only offered online. Or just maybe you're staring at the registration page online, trying to figure out which course is which and how do they work. It can be overwhelming when you don't know what to expect from an online college class. And you might be worried about them. Our online class is basically like a correspondence course. You're on your own teaching yourself. Or maybe they're like COVID. You spend all day trying not to fall asleep in another Zoom meeting. Or maybe you have no idea what to expect at all. So here's a reality check. GCC offers 3 completely different kinds of online courses, plus a 4th option that mixes everything together. And they're all designed differently. Why? Well, to meet the demands of different types of busy online students. But how do you know what to expect from each one? How do you choose, or better yet, adapt to whichever format you end up in? That's going to help you be successful in your online course. And that's what you want, right? So let me break it down for you using Neapolitan ice cream. I'm Loy from Online Learning, and this is episode 14, 3 flavors of online learning. If you've never had Neapolitan ice cream, it's pretty simple. 1 box, 3 flavors side by side, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You can scoop out just 1 flavor if that's what you're craving, or mix them together for something different. The point is, they're all in the same box, but they give you different experiences. That's online learning at GCC. So let's dig into each flavor and see what it actually means. We'll start with chocolate. Chocolate is like your online Zoom course. It's rich, it's structured. Zoom courses show up at set times, just like a traditional class. It meets 2 to 3 times a week in Zoom, similar to what happened in COVID. Now, what does a week of chocolate actually look like? Well, let's say you're taking a 3-credit online Zoom course. You're looking at about 9 hours worth of coursework every week. So you might spend 3 of those hours in live Zoom sessions. Lectures, discussions, group activities, whatever your instructor has planned. And the other 6 hours, well, that's you doing homework, readings, working on assignments outside of class. It's the same total time commitment as an in-person class. It's just, it happens on Zoom. Now, one thing to keep in mind, Zoom online classes happen on a fixed schedule, and so attendance usually matters. How much it factors into your grade will vary from one instructor to the next. But if you're signing up for a Zoom course, plan on showing up. Here's where we find that students tend to trip up a bit with Zoom courses. They treat them like TV shows. A student will think, I can miss a session, I'll stream it later, I'll catch up later. But the reality is, it's hard to watch a recorded hour of Zoom. And in a Zoom class, there aren't even always recordings. So if you missed it, you missed it. Just like TV, students forget to take notes because it's not a traditional class setting. And taking notes helps reinforce your learning. And because you're at home on your computer in a Zoom class, it's very tempting to multitask. So you're checking email, you're scrolling social media, but you're missing important information in the class. And some students honestly feel like they can hide a little bit better in Zoom than in person, so they don't participate. Trust me, your instructor is noticing. If you want to be successful in a Zoom course, treat it like a live class. Sit up straight, wear something nice that you would wear to school, take notes, pay attention, don't multitask. In the middle of the Neapolitan box, we've got vanilla. So I'm going to say vanilla is like your online asynchronous course or online no meetings course. It's classic, it's flexible. You work through it the way you want. In an online async course, there are no class meetings. All of your content lives in Brightspace or in a third-party online platform. So what does your week look like? Well, it's the same 9 hours for that 3-credit course. But now all of it is on your schedule. So you might spend some of that time watching recorded lectures or reading course materials or working through assignments and turning in homework. When do you do it? Well, that's up to you, as long as you hit your deadlines. Most asynchronous courses have weekly due dates. You have to meet those weekly due dates. Because that's the biggest trap with async courses, is procrastination. Because the flexibility of, I can do it anytime, quickly becomes, I'll do it later. And that turns into scrambling at the deadline or maybe even missing assignments entirely. Students also don't check Brightspace often enough. Maybe they log in only once a week and miss announcements or critical assignment updates. Another mistake with asynchronous courses is underestimating how long those assignments actually take. In a traditional class, you have a little bit of built-in structure in class time. In asynchronous mode, you're building that structure yourself. And if you wait until the night before it's due, you might realize that assignment needs way more time than you thought it did. Finally, with asynchronous courses, so many students think they should figure everything out alone. They never use office hours or tutoring because asking for help feels like admitting defeat. It's not. That's what those resources are there for. You don't have to teach yourself. The instructor is there to help. Our tutors are there to help. So here's the key to success with an asynchronous format. You need to handle the overhead. Not more homework, not more time, but more accountability and more self-scheduling and self-discipline on your part. You have to decide when you're logging in, when you're doing the homework, how you're staying on top of your due dates. If you're worried about that responsibility, check out episode 2 of our podcast where we talk about something called the 7-day study plan. It helps you organize your time. So think about all the toppings you can put on vanilla ice cream, right? I bet you yours are different from mine because there's lots of choices. And you've got lots of choices with an asynchronous class. Support options with instructor office hours, online tutoring, staff who can support you when you need it, help from IT services, even fellow students you can connect with online. Async doesn't have to mean isolated. If that's how you feel in an asynchronous course, reach out. The last flavor in our ice cream box is strawberry. Now, strawberry is an online partial Zoom course. It's less common than the other flavors, but boy, students who love strawberry, they love strawberry. Partial Zoom is a mix of scheduled check-ins and independent asynchronous work. So a partial Zoom class, it might meet once a semester, once a month, or even just once a week in Zoom. But it's less of a traditional class and more like a Q&A session. So the traditional partial Zoom course looks a lot like an asynchronous course. It's the same 9 hours on your schedule. It's the same content that's in Brightspace or online, watching recorded content, doing readings, working through assignments. It's the same requirement that you manage your due dates and responsibilities. The difference is that you've also got those scheduled Zoom sessions mixed in. Those sessions are for questions, clarifications, review, maybe even group work. And here's what makes them valuable. They give you a built-in opportunity to ask questions, if maybe reaching out on your own feels intimidating. You don't have to work up the nerve to email or go to scheduled office hours. The time's already set aside for you. So you can see why it can be a popular option for many students. With partial Zoom, the biggest mistake students make is in the name of the format itself. So students will see partial and they think, the Zoom session is optional. Nice to have, but I don't need to go. And they skip them, and then they struggle without that support. Or if they do show up to the regular Zoom sessions, they're not prepared. Students arrive in Zoom without any questions and sit quietly because they didn't think ahead about what they need help with. Those regular sessions are gold if you use them correctly. Come prepared with specific questions about what's confusing you, and you'll get so much more out of them. Success in a partial Zoom class looks like using each type of attendance in the best way possible. Asynchronous work for flexibility on your schedule, and those partial Zoom sessions for asking questions. And finally, let's talk about high flex. High flex is like having a whole banana split. You get all three flavors, and you can add in-person attendance if you're nearby. And you can switch between them depending on what works for you. High flex courses let you attend in person by Zoom or watch asynchronously on any given class day. You can flip between those modes throughout the semester. You don't need to notify your instructor. You just choose what works for you that week. Because what's consistent in a high flex class is that assignments are submitted online through Brightspace or an e-learning platform. It doesn't matter how you attended class. Assignments all come in the same way. Whether you were there in person, on Zoom, or asynchronously, you're turning in the same work. So, what does that week look like? Well, it's the same 9 hours for that 3-credit course. But how you spend those hours, in this case, is really up to you. Maybe you attend by Zoom Monday and Wednesdays, but you work, or maybe you babysit on Fridays. So you watch that lecture over the weekend instead, and just catch up that way. It's really flexible. But here's what I've noticed with high flex. We have a regular recurring habit. Students start strong. They show up in person or on Zoom, engaged, connected, working through the course content. And then life gets hectic. And because they have the option, students shift more towards asynchronous, which is fine. That's the whole point of it being high flex. But if you make that shift, your study habits need to shift too. You need to put in that extra work, that extra overhead to stay connected to what's happening in those sessions and manage your own deadlines and due dates. Because, spoiler alert, if you've switched to async because your life got hectic, you're probably not going to catch up. Another mistake is thinking that because the format is flexible, you need less structure. Actually, it's the opposite. High flex requires the most self-discipline. You're constantly making choices about how you're going to engage with the course. And if you're not intentional about it, you'll drift. You'll drift into that, I'll do it later, asynchronous mode, and then you don't do it later. And then you're in trouble. So don't skip the live high flex course without having a solid study plan. I'm going to reference it again. Episode 2, the 7-day study plan. Make one. Stick to it. You'll thank yourself later. So that's the 3 flavors of online learning: Zoom, asynchronous, and partial Zoom, plus HyFlex, which gives you all the options with a banana. But knowing what these formats are, now you need to go find them. How do you spot them when you're actually registering? So let's talk about that registration page. When you're looking down that list of courses, online Zoom courses will have meeting times listed, and the building location will say Zoom. Online asynchronous courses won't have any meeting times listed because they don't meet, and the building will be listed as distance learning. Online partial Zoom courses have multiple meeting lines, so you'll see a single course and it'll have 2 meeting lines, one that has meeting times with the building Zoom and one that has no meeting times with the building distance learning. So you know that's partial asynchronous and partial Zoom, and you'll be able to see roughly when those Zoom sessions are going to happen. And what about HyFlex courses? Well, HyFlex courses will often have a W in the course number. And then when you click on the title of the course to pop up the description, it'll say HyFlex, and it'll tell you all the different ways that you can attend. So, what do we do with all this information? Well, take a look at the upcoming semester schedule. See which formats are available for the courses you want or the courses you need. Talk with your success coach or your online learning specialist about which format might work best for your situation and your study habits. And if you need help staying on track once you're in the course, work on building that 7-day study plan. Work with a tutor. Work with an online learning specialist so that we can help you figure out ways that you can stay on track no matter what format that class is in. Look, some students get the idea they can only be successful in one type of course. I hear it every day. I'm not good at online courses. I'm only good when the course is in person. Maybe they think they need the structure of regular classes and a talking head delivering the instruction. But here's what I've seen in reality. Most students can adapt to any of these formats once they know what to expect and how to adapt. You might struggle the first week or 2 while you figure out your rhythm, and that's normal. We can help you with that. The learning curve isn't about the format being wrong for you. It's about recognizing what each format needs from you as a student and experimenting with different ways of keeping track until you find what works. Maybe you discover you need calendar reminders for deadlines, or that taking notes by hand helps you stay focused in Zoom. That's okay. Give yourself room to adjust your approach as you go, and you can be successful in every format. Give yourself some grace, because remember what we're always aiming for here at GCC: progress, not perfection.